John Edwards worked at a hedge fund, made a lot of money at that hedge fund, although he won't tell us exactly how much yet. Here would have been the right way to handle that. Yeah, I went to work at a hedge fund after I worked in the Senate to make money for my family. End of discussion.
Yeah, it's one of the things I have always had an interest in working in finance, and I had this opportunity, and I did it.
Yeah, and you know why? I believe in capitalism. Okay?
Yeah.
And I believe in a kind of capitalism that where you could make a lot of money and be kind to the poor. Color me silly. Okay? So that's it. That's not an issue. But instead, Edwards is he can't help himself because he's got to try to spin everything because that's the kind of politician he is. So here's the first paragraph of the story about that. Democratic presidential candidate John Edwards said Tuesday that he worked for a hedge fund to learn more about financial markets and their relationship to poverty in the United States. Come on, dude. You worked at a hedge fund to learn about poverty? Who believes that? I mean, stop it. Stop it. Stop being such a politician for just 1 second because you look silly. Yeah. Be a better politician because that's not even being a good politician. You worked at a hedge fund to learn about poverty. Come on.
Yeah, there's a book by a guy named, this is weird, and I'll tell you about why in the break, just from a personal standpoint between me and you, a guy named Eric Denzenhall, and I think this is a guy I heard on NPR this morning on my drive in, and he's written a book called Damage Control, Why Everything You Know About Crisis Management is Wrong, right? And part of it, he's like, look, sometimes you should apologize. There's no question. He goes, but there's an automatic apologize, recall your product, depending on if it's business. And he's like, look, man, sometimes you shouldn't recall your product, and sometimes you shouldn't apologize.
God bless. I love this guy.
And obviously, John Edwards, and I thought about it in relation to John Edwards, like, why does he feel the need, because somebody asked him, that he has to explain himself? Rich people can tackle. Nobody asked Bill Gates, how dare you give money to charity? You don't know anything about poor people. What do you care about charity? You make billions. And he should say, look, man, I'm trying to dedicate my life to give everybody the same opportunities I have. I mean, he does say that when he makes a speech. So say, look, man, I'm interested. I believe in capitalism. I've succeeded, and I took a job as a hedge fund. Why is this a frickin' issue?
Here's the second part of the story. Edwards says, quote, I didn't feel like I understand, and to be honest with you, still learning right now, sort of the relationship between that world, meaning the hedge fund world, and the way money moves in this country through financial markets. If you don't even understand the financial markets, why did they pay you millions of dollars at the hedge fund?
Yeah, and if you don't understand how money moves through financial markets, maybe you ought not be president.
Put that aside for a second. Maybe you ought not to be getting a lot of money from hedge funds. Well, how does the system work? They get these politicians to get the deals done. They don't know a thing about financial markets. A lot of them don't. They use their names for leverage, and then they get deals done. But that's the way it works, man.
You have nothing to be ashamed of, John. In other words, just say it.
Say it! Young Turks, Air America Radio.